Hello and welcome to Total IELTS. Peter here, and in today's video I'll be looking at IELTS listening strategies for labeling diagrams and completing flowcharts. I'll be looking at the challenges and giving some tips and strategies for these two question types. Let's begin with labeling diagrams. This is quite a common listening question type, and there are several possible topics. You could be asked to label a machine, a device, a process, or even a structure. And the tasks can be choose a correct option from a list or write the correct answer in the numbered gaps. Here's an example of choosing an option from a list and writing the answer A to E in the numbered gaps. Let's look at some of the challenges with labeling diagrams. These can include so-called technical knowledge, the use of distractors, synonyms and paraphrase, and specialized language used to describe shapes and location. As for technical knowledge, this can be a real worry for some students. When they see diagrams like this, they think, OMG, I don't know anything about a water heater, or even a lever-based device from 1670. However, technical knowledge really isn't necessary. This is, after all, a listening test and not a test of your technical knowledge. And the language used is really not that specialized. If you look at the list of options, option B, on-off switch, and D, time control, these are everyday high-frequency words. As for distractors, you need to choose 3 from 5 options, so read the options carefully. The incorrect ones will be, by definition, distractors. Synonyms and paraphrase are used extensively in all parts of the listening test. For example, here, E, the correct answer is warning indicator. And the recording says, then there's a little square indicator under the third knob that's a kind of alarm light. So the synonyms for warning indicator here are alarm light. Shapes and location are described in diagrams. For example, the recording says, then there's a little square indicator under the third knob that's a kind of alarm light. When it comes to shapes, you should be aware of the language used to describe the main shape names. For example, round, circular, square, rectangle, and even triangular. As for location, again, be aware and learn the main language used to describe location. For example, on the left or right, in the center, below, above, or under. For flowcharts, the topics are many and varied, and they can include a manufacturing process, an application procedure, or steps to complete a project. And they always have a start and finish. Here, for example, the flowchart here describes advice on exam preparation, and the task is write the answers in the gaps. For questions like this, always pay attention to the word limit. The instruction says no more than 2 words and or a number. So this means your answer can be 1 word and a number, 2 words, or 2 words and a number. For questions like this, always predict the answer before you listen. Think about the missing information in the gap and the type of word it could be. Is it a noun, verb, adjective, etc.? After you write your answer, read it again and check that it fits grammatically in the sentence. Here, for example, question 28 is most likely a noun because it's preceded by a. And the recording says you also need a timetable. Never change the word or words you hear in the recording. Copy them exactly as you hear them, even though the words around the gap are most likely paraphrased. So when you read the sentence, think of synonyms for the words around the gap. For example, the sentence here says divide revision into for each day. And the recording says, so if you break down your revision into small tasks and allocate them to specific days. The answer here is small tasks, and the synonym for divide is break down, for synonym allocate, and each specific. So in summary for devices, always study the diagram carefully before you listen. Use the titles and the parts already labeled in the diagram because these will guide you to your answer. Don't overthink or analyze the diagram too much, and don't be put off by so-called technical knowledge. When choosing from a list of options, there will always be more options than answers. These are distractors. Synonyms and paraphrase will be extensively used, so when you're reading the options, think of synonyms for the words. Try to learn the language used to describe shapes and location. For example, the round one on the left. For flowcharts with written answers, always follow the word limit. If you exceed the word limit, your answer will be marked incorrect. Always try to predict the answer, what type of word is missing, and type of information. After you've chosen your answer, check that it fits grammatically, and be aware of the use of synonyms and paraphrase. For both diagrams and flowcharts with written answers, never change the word or words you hear in the recording. Copy it directly, and always follow the question numbers for the order you will hear the answers.